Fellow Gambians, my name is Ambassador ESSA BOKARR. On our session today, I am here to advise the incumbent, and my advice is flying from concerns, challenges, and compelling forces society is facing due to the existence of certain institutions and also certain operational policies. Well, I know in certain quarters this may not be highly welcome. However, where this advice is lodged within the psyche or the mindset of those who are affected, it will be highly welcome. To that effect, what I want to categorically state here is that I and many others do not see any tangible reason why institutions like the Ministry of Environment, the National Environment Agency, Gambia Public Procurement Authority, and the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority should exist. Well, we are seeing writings and the propaganda sound bites in defense of these institutions spreading their wings, but those who are engaged in it know very well that it would not harm us if these institutions are transformed into branches or annexed or attached to government, institutions that would still make them more effective than what they are today. In fact, added to that list is MoBSE, the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. I know very well that this, I don't call it argument, but this concern or these concerns and these compelling forces that are generated from the existence of these institutions will not settle down well in certain minds. But we are not here to appease people. The incumbent should understand one thing. The problems he is facing on the seat of power is not coming from the opposition per se. The failure of the operational policies being generated from the office of the president and other line ministries is what attracts what I would call criticism, constructive criticism. In fact, there is a school of thought that believes that there is nothing like constructive criticism because every criticism is constructive. Where it is not constructive, it is not criticism. It is character assassination. And when things are geared towards transforming institutions or using the scales of checks and balances as far as the functionalities of institutions, that is not character assassination. That is what we call participatory democracy. That is what we call responsibility. I want to say this categorically clear that I'm one of those people who do not believe that we should have PURA, Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. I don't believe it. Why should we have PURA? Why should we have GPPA? Why should we have NEA and Ministry of Environment? With all the challenges society is facing. Before the existence of GPPA, I do not think anybody will tell me the graph of corruption and corrupt practices was higher. It is higher now when we are saying that we have GPPA. Some will argue it out and tell you, maybe you don't understand the functions of that institution. It makes me laugh. Let me tell you one thing. I just don't wake up and talk about institutions. I understand the functions of GPPA more than some people working at the GPPA. I can tell you that with authority. They call it because it's regulating procurement within government. That is not the case. GPPA is more interested in collecting funds the same way as GRA is. Why can't we have these institutions under the umbrella and the organogram of the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Justice? It will scale down the budget and it will increase efficiency. What we see is that people who are assigned the roles of heading these institutions, the first thing they think about is to fortify themselves with very expensive cars. And then the justification is that you see them running around to justify the fact that we are directors or heads of institutions, therefore we deserve flying first class or business class. And they will tell you it is our legal right. It's in the right way privilege. And that is across the board. When a country is facing financial challenges, discipline should come. Why wouldn't the Gambia government entertain the idea of signing agreements with these airlines, and then permanent secretaries or any other person for that matter should be flying premium or economy plus? Why not? They will tell you, because I have a responsibility, I must be comfortable. But your comfort at the expense of the comfort of the citizens? That is not right. We can have the functions of GPPA directly within a unit under the Ministry of Finance or under the Ministry of Justice. The minister will have you under him. Because at the end of the day, there is no independence as far as the GPPA is concerned, and there is no independence as far as the Public Utility Regulatory Authority is concerned. We have state-owned enterprises. Why can't there be an organogram then? All of them will be under one organogram. They will be called state-owned enterprises, and then the GPPA unit, the PURA unit, and the other units. Then you will have a directorate, and then you have heads of departments who will be monitored and have to be told to do the job. We scale down the budget. The same thing goes as far as PURA is concerned. They can be under the organogram of the Ministry of Finance, interlinked with the functions of the Registry of Businesses at the Ministry of Justice. We have the Ministry of Justice in Banjul. We have the single window in KMC, and you will still tell us that we need another institution to be involved in that. And you tell us it is controlling procurement within government. Which procurement? In fact, after the GPPA was put in place, or right now, with all the hula baloo happening about demonstrations, corruption, and all that, why do we need GPPA then? It is just a way of slaying our national coffers for no reason. And we have a National Assembly. that is more interested in political motions that are geared toward politics than operational policies. Look at the facade of the National Assembly, calling itself a committee of inquiries. Any country that you see that has a lot of commissions of inquiries is a country where those who are assigned the role to handle institutions do not respect the Constitution. Had we been respecting auditor generals, accountant generals, in the most appropriate way, legally, and there are sanctions accompanying those functions for anybody who does not respect it today, we would not have needed the GPPA. Look at GPPA. Look at the stories on corruption. Look at PURA. Look at how unruly and the cavalier attitude of those who are called the institution that PURA should regulate. Why should PURA even be there when we have state-owned enterprise? This is what the incumbent should be told, to come and then challenge because the people who are making any government fail, particularly the one in many areas, is not the ministers. This is where the problem is. I'm not exonerating the ministers, but most of these institutions, you do not need them. During the era of the colonial government, we have Board of Health. Banjul was cleaner, Serekunda was cleaner. Look at the blame game of musical chairs between the Ministry of Environment and National Environment Agency. For goodness sake, I don't even know why we should have a Ministry of Environment. Look at how dirty our country is. Look at how dirty our clinics are. That particular ministry itself, it could have been transformed into a parastatal per se. We can have a Department of Cleansing Services and Environment, or a Department of Environment and Cleansing Services, scale it down and give it to experts. There will be anti-littering laws, and then they'll be implemented. Some people will tell you, yes, the municipalities. You see, that's another political way of justifying failures. Our National Assembly members, I would tell you that they are personal assembly members. They are not National Assembly members. They are not NAM, they are PAM. Everything they do is, first of all, is for their comfort and how they can generate income for their personal gain. That's the fact. Why do we even need that Ministry of Environment? Look at the gap here. Look at the paradox. It's obvious. And those are the very people who will look at this department that is responsible of food quality. Why do we have those departments? Everything like that should have been under one unit with very pragmatic people under the Ministry of Health per se. And they could have done it. Or you create a parastatal which will scale it down, and all those departments will be under it. People will look at them. The parliament you will never see them promote motions like that. The motions they promote is always about votes, about cards, about subscription of political parties. Look at the kind of motions that our parliament puts in place. They will come back again pretending like mask dancers, like Kankuran Jambantango in Mandinka, stand around and say, okay, we are now going to bring these people to make sure that we put a commission in place. How many commissions of inquiry do we have in the Gambia since 94? Has that solved the problem? No, it will not. Why do we have Ministry of Basic Education and the Secondary Education? Look at other countries. Do you have it in bigger countries? You don't. Why can't we have a Ministry of Education with a Department of Basic and Secondary Education under the ministry and scale it down? Then the budget will be scaled down to enhance the lives of the teachers, to absorb more teachers. Ministry of Environment. Look at that budget. What are they doing? Bushfires everywhere. Okay? No anti-littering laws. Look at how dirty. When it rains, that's why there are floods all over the place. The incumbent should understand one thing. What makes people criticize him is caused by his own institutions, his own ministries. Look at the archaic, repetitive nature of governance in the Gambia. Every time, Thursday, cabinet meeting, prepare a cabinet paper. We know that there are people who know very well that the way they prepare their cabinet papers, they know who they consult to help them out. Let any one of them deny. We know it. Why do we even have PURA with all that we are seeing? Everything like these institutions was created to make jobs available to certain individuals who are more sycophants than experts. These institutions should be revamped because it's a waste of money. Look at how the challenges that NAWEC faces. PURA will sit there, call NAWEC and bring NAWEC to book. But are you better than NAWEC? Can you imagine? Who is controlling AfriCell, QCell, Comium, and all others? Who is helping shrink GAMCell? Is it done in the absence of that institution? I doubt it. For me, though, and I have the right to express my opinion, I do not see any reason why we should have a Ministry of Environment with the kind of Gambia we have. In fact, we don't need it. We don't need it. A very effective institution where a motion is put in, we squash these orders and bring in an organogram, state-owned enterprises, and some of them will be under these things, and that one unit will do everything that PURA would be doing under one umbrella, and the budget will be scaled down. Because this is more about fanfare than comfort for somebody. Which comfort? So are we a country where people, when institutions are created, we have more form than substance? Buy expensive cars, give it to them, they run around? Is that what you call cabinet meetings they attend? Trying to be bossy? Is that what you call it? Look at the Gambia. Look at how dirty it is. Where are the anti-littering laws? Ministry of Environment is there. National Assembly is there. PURA is there. Gambia is dirtier. And we have more stories on corruption than anything we can even imagine. Whether proven or not, the stories are there. Well, if it wasn't a concern, why did they set up a commission of inquiry? Why is a commission of inquiry set up for the local governments, and why is it set up today for the looted assets for the former President Jammeh's assets? Why? Had we had people who respected the laws and sanctions are readily available to make people follow the rules, why a country with endless commissions of inquiry is a country that does not respect financial institutions or financial instructions and financial discipline, period. And the reports are there. They may not be out yet, but IMF, World Bank, African Development Bank, other institutions, other countries are watching. They see it. For me, I believe that the incumbent should sit down and think deep and understand that everything that the society is talking about is caused by his own ministers, his own directors, his own CEOs. The failures are caused by them. If he does not shake them, the complaints will remain, and the society will remain being unsatisfied. And let the incumbent understand that all these parastatals combined, each one of them would not have been calling him sir and bowing had he not been a president. They alone cannot make him win the presidency. They cannot make me win the presidency. But let me make one thing clear though. I, ESSA BOKARR, if you want to keep this video, if I were to win, there is no need for Ministry of Environment, for National Environment Agency, for PURA, for GPPA, to wait for me to even tell them you need to go. Those institutions will be revamped, they'll be squashed, we'll replace them with efficient units that will do the job. Where the institution is created, we will encourage private sector. That private sector, they will be told what the criteria they need to put in place, cleansing services, and they are going to be held accountable where they fail. We will see how clean the country is, with the dirt in the Gambia, with the floods in the Gambia, with the mosquitoes in the Gambia, with the nonchalant nature of institutions in the Gambia. How are you going to justify for me that procurement in government is controlled under GPPA? That is not true. PURA is not doing anything. The Ministry of Environment shouldn't exist. National Environment Agency shouldn't exist. Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education should not exist. That's my opinion. Thank you.